All right, in this video, we're going to talk about picture-in-picture. As you can see, I've actually got a picture-in-picture happening right now. I'm in the bottom corner, and also I'm on the big screen. But picture-in-picture is pretty cool because it kind of allows you to have two pictures on at the same time, regardless of what you're doing. So it's actually really nice to be able to use picture-in-picture even in a situation like this where I might be wanting to show you one thing, but then still want to be able to look at the camera. Another times you might want to put a note or something in the bottom. There's a lot of different ways that you could use picture-in-picture. I'm going to go through with you on the software control on how to use picture-in-picture here. And so for this video, it's on the right-hand side of this, so I'm actually going to move my picture-in-picture over to this corner for the first little bit. So you can kind of look at this. So when you open up the software control, it's got a few different panels over here on the bottom and on the right. You want to make sure you're on the switcher down here. You don't want to be on audio or any of these other tabs. Be on the switcher tab. And then on the right here, you have a few different tabs as well. And you want to be on palettes. And then if you don't see like this right here, basically if you just click on upstream key, that's what we're doing, is we're telling it what the upstream key is going to do. If we click on that, then that's where we're able to make our adjustments for this picture-in-picture. Now I kind of took a step forward here. Let me jump back to this camera here. If you see here, there's on the switcher itself, you can automatically, it comes preset with a few picture-in-picture settings. They're very limited because they only allow you to be in this top corners or bottom corners, either one, at this size right here. So if you want something bigger than this, if you touch these buttons, you're going to mess things up. So these are just the defaults, and right now in Atem, with the Atem software control, there's no way to program these buttons to do to keep and store different settings. I'm hoping that will be an update in the future where I could kind of get 4 different picture-in-picture sizes and then be able to pull those up at any time that I want. But for now, we're stuck with that. But you can adjust the size and turn it on and off using this button here. So let me put myself in the corner again, and let's go to software control. So actually maybe this is the best corner here. All right, so as we're on the palettes upstream key, there's 4 tabs here. We want to be all the way over on the side here on the DVE tab. And there's the first setting here. This is this top where it says fill source. That's what your camera or what input is going to be the small picture. So if I were to turn this to overhead, then my small picture is the overhead. So if I wanted to do some sort of deal where, maybe I was talking and I just kind of want to have this camera here down in the corner, I could do that as well. So let's go back to that, and I'm going to change that to face cam. The next thing is position. Position is the size and where it's located on the screen here. So like, let's say, for example, if I just go with this x-axis here and I move this, I can change where I'm at here on the screen, just left and right. So I can put this anywhere on the screen that I want. So let me move me kind of a little bit over here. And then on the Y, I can go up and down wherever I want. So I can put this picture-in-picture anywhere on the screen. Right below that is the size, and if you notice there's a little chain here in the middle. If you make sure that chain is clicked, then your size, whatever you resize to, it's going to keep the same aspect ratio. If it's unclicked, then you can kind of stretch an image, which you may want to do that at some point. I don't know. I'm going to click it again. So this is the size, and as you can see, I'm off the screen a little bit. So I may want to pull that down just a little bit. Let's get a bigger picture, but not crazy. And then we'll adjust the where it's at over here. So if you look like that. So that might be a good picture-in-picture for depending on what you're wanting to do. Or might be a little too big, whatever the case is. Your next part down is mask. Let me turn on mask real quick. This is where perhaps I want my face cam, but I don't want to have this 16:9 ratio. I want to have a more of a square in here. So I could do that by just adjusting the mask, or maybe maybe I want to pull this top down just a little bit where it's barely touching my head. If I just pull this top and scoot it, and I notice that you're actually kind of scoot a lot if you're trying to do this. There's just not a lot of room. So I use the number key. So like on my keypad, I'm going to use I'm going to put in 2 and hit enter, and it kind of jumps it a little bit better. So let's just say that's where I wanted it. And then on the bottom, maybe I want to come up a little bit. Let me go to 3 on the bottom, pull myself up. Yeah, maybe that might be what I want. And then on the left, let's go 4. And let's try 5. Nope. Let's try 8. Just, yeah, that looks good. And on the right, let's try 3. And this is just kind of trial and error to get the size that you want. But let's just say that this is, let's pull the top back up to 1. Yeah, maybe this is the picture that I want in there. And then I can go back and adjust my position here wherever I want it. So I can put that, in the corner or however I want. The next thing down is shadow, which is going to put a shadow on there. So if you notice that it did put a little bit of a shadow there. Let me close this down. You'll be able to see the shadow a little bit better there. But let me close this down actually. So that's what the shadow does. Let me pull back the Atem software control. A couple things on the shadow. You can adjust how far away it is and the angle that it's at. As well as on this wheel, you can kind of adjust the angle as well, and the altitude is at the same time. So there's nothing to make it fuzzy or anything like that. It's kind of a sharp shadow. Below that is border, and believe it or not, border is actually on right now. If I click it off, you can barely see. Actually, it might not even be. It was clicked on, but there wasn't anything on here. Let me just show you here. I'm gonna adjust the top color here. So if I click on this black right here, and I'm going to pick something neon or yellow so you can just really see this, even though I probably wouldn't use this color. As you can see, it barely came on there, but I'm going to turn on the outer width here, and I could make a square right there. So if you wanted to make a nice 80s video, you could have a real thick yellow square like this if you wanted to. Or let's just make it a little bit more classy. I'm going to go 0.25, and that's a nice border around there. You could also put it at 0. You could also do the inner shadow. So if you wanted to do, this is going to pull on the inside instead of on the outside. Not inner shadow, inner border. And then you can actually soften this as well. So if I go to 50%, you can see how that's been softened a little bit. And I can even go to opacity and turn it down a little bit. It's real easy to get real cheesy here real quick on this. This looks like an 80s video right there. You don't necessarily, unless that's the look you're going for, you may not want to do that. But there are all the options there. I personally find that that just keeping it simple and doing, I like the outer shadow. Where did that go? 0.25. And where am I at? Let's see. Why isn't that working? Oh, you know what? I didn't put let's see, why is that? Oh, the border opacity is where I was at. Sorry about that. I turned border opacity all the way down to 0, which means it was see-through. 0.25, there we go. So that is the border that's there. So right off the bat, very cool. You're able to set which camera you want, put it in position, create a mask for it to resize it within the frame, put a shadow on it if you want. I'm going to take the shadow off. Border, let's make it a little bit classier now that we can kind of see. I like this orange for whatever reason. That orange it seems to like. And then down here in this section here, let's say I really like this picture right here. I like where this is at. I'm going to click this as keyframe set A. And so I'm going to set that, okay. And then I can resize this to something else. So let's just say that I wanted to have this, let's position this over on the side here. Let's put it just right, I don't want to cover up anything, so let's put it right there. And if I went down and I hit set B, then right there, if I toggle right here where it says run to, I could toggle A, and it's going to move that over to the A side. and then I could move it over to the B side by clicking B. And I could even be talking like this and click full, and then it's going to just zoom me out into a full screen, just like that. And then you can't see I full screened over this, but I'm going to click A again, and it's going to zoom me back down into A. So that's how you would kind of do that, is with these guys right here, making your adjustments. You kind of have, in a way, 3 different presets there. Also, you have some abilities too. If I clicked this button, it's gonna take me away. So if I just went like that, I disappear. And if I clicked A again, it's gonna bring me back just like that. Or if I click this over to the side, it's going to take me all the way to the corner. And then I'm gonna click B and bring me back over there. So pretty neat seeing the different options that you have on this. Again, sometimes these can be kind of cheesy unless you do them the right way. You can also adjust the rate at which you are zooming in and out. So let's just say I did 3 seconds. Then when I click to B, it's going to take 3 seconds for me to move over onto this side, or 3 seconds to go full screen. I'm going to click back out of here, come back down to B, or if I zoomed myself over here, bye. All right, I'm getting kind of silly here now. So that's how you do the picture-in-picture. I'm going to put this back to 1 second here. 1.00. Okay. One thing to notice on this, though, when you're doing the picture-in-picture, there's a couple things that you need to know. And the first is, as I have this just like this, this looks great. You know, say that's the picture that I wanted. I can turn it on and off. That's all I can do from the mixing, or from the switcher hardware itself, without using the software, is just turn it on and off. So if I want to do any of that other fancy stuff and go from A to B, then that's my only options, is to do it through the software. I wish, again, I'm hoping that sometime they'll update this where I could set this to A and this to B and this to full screen. I think that would be pretty cool for them to do that. But right now, that's not what it is. So it is what it is. So I'm going to just show you here real quick what's going to happen if I hit any of these 4. Okay, so if I hit, I'm going to hit this top corner here. It adjusted the size of that. Now it keeps some of the things, like, so it kept my mask. Let me go back over to this. It kept my mask of right here, of this size and everything that I wanted. It's more of a square than a 16 by 9, but it eliminates the size. So I lost my size here. So I can't, you know, it's just kind of frustrating that they didn't have that. And I think, though, that it does keep, if I put A, it does keep these. So if I need to, that's why going in, even if you're not even going to do something like this, it might be a good idea to go ahead and hit set on this. So, like, let me just kind of re-explain that again. So I'm good to go here, but oh, oops, I accidentally hit that. There's no way for me to get that back to that same size. Even when I come back on, it's not there. But in the software control, if I hit A, it will, when I turn it back on, it'll bring me back on in it. So hopefully that's as clear as mud for you on that. Now, one thing too, when you restart your Atem, it's going to lose all of this. So what you need to do is go up to, if you like what you have, go up to File and hit Save As. And as you can see, I've got a bunch of stuff saved down here. So like I could just call this maybe something that I like, lower left PIP, and I'll probably delete this later on, but I'm going to hit save, and then it gives me a whole bunch of options of everything I want to save. If I wanted to, I could just select, let's see, the key right here, I think is what it would be, and only check the key, and then I could pull that up. But for right now, I'm going to just save everything like this. And so when I restart my computer or restart the Atem, all I have to do is I go up to this and hit restore, and then find that, what did I label it as? Lower left PIP, and I hit open, and then it's going to ask you what parts of it do you want to restore. I'm going to say everything, or I could uncheck some of those boxes, and it pulls me back to this. and I haven't lost anything there. Okay, so I was in the middle of editing this video and I realized I left out a very important part when it comes to picture-in-picture, and that is the option to have your picture-in-picture stay on the screen no matter what you're doing with the inputs. So let me just show you real quick what that means. So basically on the software control here, I'm gonna go ahead and put the picture-in-picture on, so I'm right here, but if I were to go to, let's say, camera 2, my overhead camera, as soon as I touch that, it's going to take my picture off until I put it back on, like that, which can kind of be, you know, a little bit difficult to do, because if you're switching to a different input. So if I go to this camera here, you know, and I want to go back, you know, maybe I still wanted to be in the corner. And so there's a couple options that we have on here for us to be able to do this. And so let's see. This is one of the things with the Atem software control. I feel like that they should have put the layout of things a little bit better. There's actually 2 apps or 2 programs you have to use, the software control, but then there's the other app called the Atem Setup, which looks like this. And there's a couple options in here that you can only get to if you go to the Atem Setup app and then go back. So I wish that they'd have just built this into the app itself, but the main control app. But anyway, this button right here, if you click on this, there it'll pop this up. And if you go to the Configure tab, there is 3 different options, and we're going to really look at this one right here, picture-in-picture keyer, and we've got drop with transition as an option, and we have stay with transition. So right now, it's on drop with transition, which means that when I transition to a new input, it's going to drop the picture-in-picture. Again, I'll demonstrate that again. I'm going to switch to overhead camera, and it drops it. So if I go over here, you know, I'm going to put it on myself, but when I go back to that other screen, it is dropping it. So that can be kind of an issue because you know maybe you want to be able to do that. So all right, so we've got with that. Let me just show you what I'm. Let me go back to it. Let me change it. Let's go to stay with transition. I'm going to hit save. Let's just minimize this. And now, whenever I am changing my transition, I'm on here like this. So that's kind of cool because I'm always on right here. Now let me show you something I'm going to switch to multi-view. I'm going to show you something here that is pretty neat. So as you can see on multi-view, I've got the preview on the top left and I've got program on the top right. And you can still kind of see what I'm doing here. There is an option on here. This guy right here, I'm going to go to full screen one more time. Whoop, wrong one. This guy right here, key, does some cool things. So I'm going to go back to multi-view so you can see it. So this is, if you're looking at the top right over here, I'm turning on and off the key. This allows you essentially to do both, to not keep the picture-in-picture when you transition, but you just have to be aware of it. So what you can do is, like, for example, say I'm going to switch back to myself. Let me turn it off. Go back there. If I wanted to, I've got my picture-in-picture on, and I'm going to switch back to myself. I don't want to have myself on myself, picture-in-picture wise. So if I were to turn this key right here, click this button, notice in the preview, I'm going to toggle it back and forth in the preview window. I'm popping on and off there. So if I turn it on like that, now this is the preview window. This is saying that's like the next thing is going to look, the keyer part at least is going to be that. Now when I go back to myself, there's no, you know, this is the full screen that wasn't on there. So there is a way to kind of do both things in the same way, but you just have to be in the same. You can have the drop with transition. You just have to tell it to drop with transition before you transition. So let's go back to the Atem setup again. We'll go in and I'm going to put it back with drop with transition and hit save. Minimize this. So again, now when I press another camera, so I'll go to camera 3 here just so we can switch things up. It dropped me there in the corner. If I put myself back on, go to camera 2, it drops me. But watch this. So when I go to this, I can do the same thing here. If I'm not having a picture-in-picture right now, so like right now, I'm going to take myself off the picture-in-picture, and I click the key, it's going to tell it, hey, the next time you transition, do the picture-in-picture. So now when I go to the overhead view, it puts me in the picture-in-picture. So kind of no matter where you set this, with drop with transition or stay with transition, you can kind of work around it each way. So like right now, this would be a perfect example, is if I didn't, I don't want to, when I go back to the next shot, I don't want to have to hit that button real time. Maybe I've got like an auto transition, like watch this. So I've already got the key pressed right here. And then when I transition, it puts me down in the corner without me having to do anything. And if I unpress this again, it's gonna, well, I'm sorry, it doesn't work if you're already on it. I forgot that. It doesn't work if you're already on. So if I already have picture-in-picture on, and I say I want to also the next one I go to have picture-in-picture on, it's going to drop it with the transition whenever you transition. So, but I think that is a pretty cool option to have there, to be able to do different things. And this actually comes in really handy. If I said, all right, let's go, and I'm going to turn on the key, then you can even see in the preview window that the next one's going to be with me in there in the corner. And sure enough, when I transition, it's there in the corner. When I transition back to myself, it's not there. So pretty cool that it does that. So anyway, back to myself. I just wanted to throw that in there because that is really important to know of what to do with picture-in-picture. So that is the picture-in-picture side of things with the Atem. I use the picture-in-picture on almost everything that I've done with the Atem. I think it's one of the best features that they have. I'm so glad that they didn't just make this a switcher that, switches things, but they made it where you could do the picture-in-picture, because it's super, super useful. And hopefully this video is useful to you. If it was, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe to this channel. And if you have any ideas for an Atem Mini or Mini Pro tutorial or question you haven't figured out, I might have the answer to it. Let me know, and I might be able to make a video to help you out. So Kennis Russell out, and I'll see you in another video.